Buenos dias, good morning, my ACE familia. My name is Bernice Vargas Luna, Program Manager here with ACE, here to welcome you to today's Cafecito con ACE. My guest today is Gillian Nevarez, fellow Program Manager with ACE. We'll be talking to you today all about Spring 2024 programs. Before we go into that, a little bit about ACE in case this is your first time tuning in. ACE stands for the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement, and it's a national nonprofit whose mission is to positively impact the workplace by cultivating the pipeline of Latinx and Latina talent, providing insight, access, and support so they are successful in their careers. So welcome to Cafecito con ACE. Gillian, welcome. A few announcements before we get into it. Scholarship applications are open. This is intended for college students, university students, and community college, and four-year, and also grad students can apply. The deadline for that is going to be January 31st, and the link to apply for that will be dropped in the chat. Also, a huge shout out to our class of 2023 who graduated on December 11th, earlier this week. We had over 200 attendees tune in to celebrate the graduation ceremony, where they were able to network and matchmake and begin to cultivate that community that they are now a part of. And then our final announcement in general, our Spring 2024 program applications are open. We will have our spring programs, Mujeres de ACE, El Futuro University, and all the others as well available on our website. We'll be dropping links in the chat for that. So welcome, welcome. First off, Gillian, good morning. Let us know how you take your cafecito.
Hi, good morning. So I usually have just regular coffee and with probably a little bit too much creamer. So I'll have that every morning with a glass of water.
Ooh, okay. At least you're staying hydrated. I'm trying to also jump on the water wagon. I tend to just hydrate with coffee all day, and that's actually not the best. And so my favorite coffee is café de olla, actually. So that's coffee with a little bit of cinnamon with canela. It's so delicious. But on my day-to-day, it's also with a little bit of creamer. I like that sweetness into it. So thank you so much for sharing, Gillian. Please drop in the chat, those that are tuning in. Let us know what is your cafecito preference or your beverage of choice. If you're a tea person, water person, let us know. We love to see all the differences in the community. So Gillian, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your cultural identity and how you got here to your role at ACE.
Yeah, so I am Puerto Rican. I am originally from Michigan. I am now located in Chicago. As for my professional background, I worked as a legal assistant after receiving my undergraduate degree from Michigan State in political science. I then decided to make a bit of a career shift and I went back to school. So I received my master's from Northwestern in public policy and administration. And while I was working on my master's, I also completed an AmeriCorps service year where I worked with another amazing local Chicago nonprofit called Box United. And there I worked with middle school and high school girls around Chicago, focusing on boxing and leadership development. Since then, I have now been with ACE, working on our student programs for a little bit over a year and a half, about a year and 7 months now.
Wonderful, Gillian. Thank you so for sharing. And you're such a fit for those programs because of your experience in working with youth. And so it's just amazing and a great fit for you to now be managing and overseeing the youth programs that we have available with ACE. So let's talk a little bit more about those because, obviously we have members in our community who have individuals in their families, in their network that are either high school students or college students. And so this is definitely information to share with them. And so you can take that with them. So Gillian, tell us about, now that you've served as ACE's El Futuro and University Leadership Program Lead in those cohorts, share about the growth and the professional development from those programs from the start to graduation day.
Yeah, with both high school and university programs, you really notice a ton of confidence throughout the program, right? They start off, they're a little hesitant about the program, they're not sure what questions to ask. And then you notice as the program goes on and they get a little bit more comfortable, they really start to ask a lot of questions. They ask for advice, and they really like to see other professionals. They want to see themselves, right, in these professionals that they're speaking with. So they will ask for these connections so they can kind of meet other people in any field. And then you'll also notice a lot of students begin to tell me their success stories throughout the program as well. So I know students were able to get interviews and they were able to utilize the STAR method. I know a specific student, she actually set up a meeting with her bank so she can start to begin investing at a young age, right? So you'll see they have this confidence and then they have these tools that they're really already implementing into their everyday lives.
That is amazing. Can you imagine having that financial literacy or that financial awareness at such a young age? And you hear now I'm in my 40s and I'm thinking, oh man, I should have been saving such a long time ago because now I'm looking at retirement and it feels like that for so many of us because we don't necessarily have access to, having that financial literacy and it's not something they generally teach you in school, right? And so it's amazing that a student is now already making those decisions for themselves and be just so much farther ahead. And I had the opportunity of joining and viewing the Futuro graduation and presentations. And they were able to share a little bit about themselves, what their aspirations were as well, and what they learned from the program. And it was so one inspiring
Mhm.
to see them really have some sense of direction. And I think of when I was that age back in my 20s or even earlier than that, I don't think I had all those senses, right, or any of that direction to receive that at an early age. And then having that as your purpose, right, now you have a guide and how to live your life. And so it's just so amazing. I love that. And such a great example. I feel like we should bring that person back and engage their experience and teach the rest of us of what questions to ask when you're going through that process. So, um,
Right.
so you already touched a little bit about it, but what are the benefits, right, of a student, high school or university, joining these types of programs?
Yeah, there's so many benefits to joining a program, our RSA programs. So students really will gain like valuable knowledge on items such as resume building, interviewing skills, personal finance, and more specifically, personal branding. We really focused on what the students' strengths were and how they can utilize those strengths into making a career, right? And making money off of what they like to do. So then these skills really do greatly assist all the students so they can actually meet their post-graduation goals and they feel really one inspired by meeting other people like them and two they also are able to map out where they would like to end up eventually. So students meet a ton of other Latino or Hispanic professionals within their chosen careers, and then I really try to emphasize creating connections between the students and the ASE network. They want to hear others' experiences, right? They want to hear from other people that are in their career. A lot of students are first generation, so maybe they don't have that family assistance in terms of applying to college or understanding the different fields to go into, or like the one student creating a personal finance plan, right? They might not have that within their family situation, or they might not have that as a resource either within their school. So we're really able to supplement those skills and resources to provide them with all of these, invaluable skills that we offer.
And I love that you brought up that not only the content, right, that will give them those tools, but also the examples, right? The real world example, the real world person that has gone through it and can give you a resume tip or can, give you some of that insight or share their own, career journey as an example of what that could look like. Um, and so it's just amazing to be able to put those two things together and have those examples of the where you could see yourself in the future. Because again, I don't think I had that necessarily at that age, right? I couldn't look
Mhm.
to and I remember applying through the FAFSA and going through college and not really understanding that process and not being able to ask my parents because they weren't aware, hadn't done it. I was the first one in my family, so I was the first one actually doing it as well. And so all these different factors, right? And so it's, again, so helpful that these programs exist for this younger community to
Right.
empower them to move into when they do graduate from high school or college, depending on their route, and they're ready for that career, they have a better sense of what that pathway looks like, right?
Yeah. And we really like to emphasize that success isn't linear, right? It's not just a one straight path. It's kind of, you can kind of go all over the place with your success. And so that's why it's amazing to bring in the ASE network to utilize their stories, right? Because they're always different. We always get to hear different stories, and to show students that you don't always have to take one pathway to success. Really, it is your journey and it's up to you to where you would like to end up.
And your journey can't change, right? It might go this way and then this way and all sorts of way, and that's okay too. And so they get all of that from, again, those stories and those experiences. So before we get into questions, I have one more question for Gillian regarding scholarships and application tips, since we touched a little bit about that. But please drop your questions in the chat for Gillian, any questions you might have about El Futuro program, university leadership, in general, her experience as a program lead for that youth community. So drop those questions in the chat. We'll be taking those here shortly. But Gillian, now that we are opening our scholarships, right? Those are open. And can you share with us any tips that you have that you've seen to assist in completing those?
Yeah, for starters, it's really important for students to understand ASE's mission and vision. So really do a deep dive into ASE's website, because you can really tell the students that know our mission, right, and they know what we do compared to the students that maybe don't. And then also, really, the most common mistake that I will see within applications is that they do not answer the question fully. They don't quite comprehend the question that they're being asked. So really make sure that you are reading the question and you are answering it in full. And if you have any questions, you can always feel free to reach out to ASE, or I highly suggest having a friend or a family member read your application as well before turning it in. And then in terms of just want to give a quick tip in terms of our student program application. Really make sure that you are understanding the time commitment. It is a commitment to join these programs. So make sure that you don't have any time conflicts and that you really understand and review all of the dates and times. You really need to be able to be there and fully be present during all of our programs to get the full experience. So make sure that you are understanding the time commitment.
Beautiful. And as you were just sharing the tip for the scholarship in terms of understanding the organization that you're applying for and answering the questions fully, I automatically thought of job interview, right? So that even serves as job interview skills, and because those are things that you'll have to implement, right? You need to understand the organization, make sure it aligns with you, and you need to be show that you're aware, right? And that you're showing interest. And so again, starting from the beginning, we're implementing those skills that are going to translate to helping you succeed in different ways in your future as well. So thank you so much for sharing those tips, Jillian. And we'll take any questions that are in the chat here shortly. But Jillian, talk to us a little bit about El Futuro program. You talked about the timing. Talk to us about the format, if that's in personal, if that's virtual, is that evening, day, how long it is?
So for our spring 2024 cohort, this is open actually to Arizona high school juniors and seniors. This is an evening program. It is about an hour and a half weekly. So this will occur on Wednesdays it is 5:30 to 7 p.m. Central Time Zone. So yeah, you will need to be there for an hour and a half on camera. It is via Zoom. And make sure that you really are committed to the program, because the more that you put into these programs, the more that you'll really gain from them.
Lovely. And again, some of the tips that the program covers is the resume building, right? And branding, and what are some of the other ones?
Yeah, so it's resume building, how to set yourself apart from other students like you, building those interview skills. We talk a little bit about negotiation. We talk about College 101, how to apply, what the application process looks like. We provide any tips that we can. I also offer to go through any applications with students if they want a second pair of eyes on those applications. We talk about personal finance, any sort of alternative funding to university. I know it can be expensive and it can be tough finding additional resources, specifically if you are undocumented or a DACA student. So we try to go through any sort of alternative funding that we can find for students, so they really are able to, reach their goals and go to college if that's what they would like to do. And then we also talk about applying for work. We don't want to we want to make sure that the students realize that college might not be for them. If they are not interested in college, that is okay. There are alternative opportunities. We talk about trade school and just generally entering the workforce, applying for internships as well. So we want to make sure that the students are very well-rounded and they understand all of the options that they have post-graduation.
Thank you for sharing, Gillian. And again, another big shout out, I have to say, for the fall 2023 class that just graduated. We run our programs in the spring and in the fall, and we just graduated 5 different asset programs from youth all the way to professionals up to the C-suite level. And so we had over 300 graduates in the fall. We celebrated them during the graduation ceremony on Monday. And so it was so lovely to see them. So again, participating in an asset program now brings you into the asset community where we celebrate you and we're with you on your journey as you grow from that youth student and then to other programs as well. So as we begin to wrap up, Gillian, let's share a little bit more about you. Tell us something or what you are hopeful for as we begin into the new year. We're at the end of this year. So what are you hopeful for in the future?
Yeah, well, working with these students, they really are inspiring. I know you were there during the presentations. Just hearing about their goals and where they would like to end up is super inspiring. So I really am just super hopeful for the next generation and to hear, their success stories as they grow into their careers and into their educational journeys. And I also am hopeful that we'll be able to expand our scholarship opportunities and we'll be able to offer more scholarships as the years go on to students that are really in need. I just want to emphasize one more time that our Dr. Vinny Caraballo Scholarship is open to undocumented and DACA students. So please apply. Those applications are now open. So we are looking forward to reading through those applications. It is one of my favorite parts about this position is being able to read all of their stories and their backgrounds. So I'm really hopeful for that generation to come up.
And we thank you so much, Gillian. And we actually do have a question actually relating to the scholarships. And this is from Emma Perez Hale. Are there any scholarship programs from students graduating from local colleges 2-year programs and wanting to further themselves to state universities, as many students do take that pathway or highway?
So our program, to start with, our university program is open to community college and four-year university students, and they do receive a stipend at the end of that program that they are able to utilize for whatever needs they have. But if they want to use that for education, obviously that is amazing. And then our scholarship is open as well to community college and four-year university students. So they can apply to our Dr. Vinny Caraballo scholarship as well.
And again, what is the deadline for that Vini Caraballo scholarship?
It is January 31st, 2024. So a little over a month to go. So I highly encourage for everyone to get their scholarships applications in before the end of the year. So you're ready to go and you don't have to worry about it come 2024.
Yes, do it before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Don't wait until next year because you will forget. So that was Gillian's final tip is do it before the end of the year. Apply now. We'll drop the link in the chat again. So thank you so much, Gillian, for joining us today. We'll wrap up this cafecito. Look to future cafecitos where we will be discussing the information on Mujeres de ACE, Hombres de ACE, ACE Colores, multicultural leadership, emerging Latino leaders. We have a lot of programs within HACE that, as we said, serve from the youth, what we call, to the C-suite, is that professional journey that you take from leading yourself and then to leading others. And so our program is really tailored and customized with culturally relevant programming to really assist you and guide you through that journey. And so look for those spring applications, go to our website to see those individual programs and see which one would be a fit for you. Y con eso, hasta luego. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.